Hello sports fans, it is Monday, May the 11th, year 2015, and as always, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Great to be back with you guys. Hope you had a fabulous Mother's Day weekend. Hope you caught some of the games over the weekend. Let's start in the NBA where the Cleveland Cavaliers had a huge win in Chicago yesterday, and they evened the series 2-2 as they go back to Cleveland for Game 5. LeBron James with the big shot at the buzzer to win it for Cleveland. Remember, Derrick Rose won Game 3 with that bank shot at the buzzer. So this has been a very tight, hard-fought series. I'll tell you, the theme of the NBA, just like this series, is who's healthy? Gasol missed yesterday's game for the Bulls. Who knows about him the rest of the series? You know Love is out for Cleveland the rest of the playoffs. Irving is limping around for Cleveland. I mean, who is healthy in the NBA? You see this in all the series. By the way, how good was J.R. Smith yesterday? How good was the Cleveland bench? At one point in the third quarter, I thought the Bulls were going to pull away, but give Cleveland all sorts of credit. They came fighting back in the fourth quarter. J.R. Smith, some huge shots. The Cleveland bench got some good things done, and LeBron James hits that big shot from the corner at the buzzer to win it for Cleveland. To me, this series is going 7. It's going to be very tight the rest of the way. And who is going to be healthy? When is Gasol going to come back? What's the story with Irving? He's limping around. So who's going to be healthy in this series? But this series, to me, should go 7. All the games have been close. It should be no exception coming down the stretch here. I think the next couple of games will be close. I mean, Cleveland does have home court. Wouldn't shock me either way if either one of these teams wins. That's how even the series is. Great game yesterday. Big-time shot by LeBron James. That was a tough shot from the corner. Cleveland gets out of Chicago with the split. They go back to Cleveland for Game 5. 2-2 in that series. As far as the other Eastern Conference series, Washington has a 2-1 series lead against Atlanta. Game 4 tonight in Washington. Washington won Game 3 without Wall. They had a huge lead. They had to hang on at the end. Atlanta had a furious comeback, but Washington does hang on as Paul Pierce, hits the shot at the buzzer. You got buzzer beaters all over the place. Rose banking in shots, Pierce banking in shots, LeBron James from the corner. So Washington escaped the other day, but give Washington all sorts of credit. Without Wall, they win the game. They're now up in the series. Now listen, I said it all year. Atlanta had a fabulous regular season. Nobody saw this coming. But how good are they? Are they going to be the same type of team in the playoffs? They didn't look all that great against Brooklyn. They did beat Brooklyn 4-2, but I wasn't overly impressed with them in that series. They don't look all that great in this series. Now, do I think they can win? Yeah. With Wall out? Absolutely. And who knows about the status of Wall? I mean, ESPN says he's, out for the rest of the playoffs, and you get other reports that he's getting closer to playing. So who knows about him? Without Wall, I don't think Washington can win this series, even though they are up. But to me, either one of these teams is going out in the next round to whoever they play, whether it be Chicago or Cleveland. I think the Chicago-Cleveland winner is getting to the finals. Washington up 2-1. Big game tonight. Big swing game. Atlanta trying to even the series, trying to get back home court. Washington trying to take a commanding 3-1 lead. Like I said, we'll keep an eye on Wall. He's not going to play tonight. We'll see if he gets back. Right now, Washington has the lead in that series. As far as the Western Conference, how about the Memphis Grizzlies? They now lead Golden State 2-1. I'll tell you, you watched Game 1 last week, and Golden State ran Memphis right off the court. Remember, Conley didn't play in the first game. He has the facial fractures. What does he do? He comes back in Games 2 and 3 and plays really well. Memphis controls both games. I thought the Memphis defense dominated the game. Allen, the big man, Gasol in the middle. I mean, they were really playing some tough defense. I like what I see from Memphis. I mean, with Conley healthy, Memphis is a dangerous team, and they can give Golden State all sorts of problems, and they are giving Golden State all sorts of problems. And I told you this a few weeks ago. Golden State had a magic carpet ride regular season. Everything went their way. They were loosey-goosey the whole year. The Splash Brothers hitting threes all over the place. the playoffs become a different game. What happens when you get squeezed? What happens when the games become tight, becomes half court? You're not running up and down the court hitting threes. Memphis has a style that can give Golden State fits. Now, I never thought Conley was going to come back and play this well. There was a chance Conley wasn't going to play in this series. Not only has he come back, he's been a star in this series. So Memphis, a solid team. They are up 2-1, and I'll tell you, if they win tonight in Memphis, Memphis is in great shape to win this series. All sorts of pressure on Golden State tonight. They had the best record in basketball. They were the favorites to win the title. Curry won the MVP. They got off to a fast start in this series. They are under all sorts of pressure here tonight. If they lose tonight on the road and go down 3-1, they are in all sorts of trouble. They have to respond tonight. To me, it's a 50-50 game. I am not so sure. I really don't know. I mean, the way Memphis has controlled the tempo in the last 2 games, Golden State has not been hitting shots. To me, this is a 50-50 game. I think Golden State can definitely win it, but it's no sure thing. But Golden State, make no mistake about it, they need this game tonight. All right, so we'll see about Golden State, how they respond tonight. As far as the other Western Conference series, the Clippers all over the Rockets, 3-1. They blow out Houston last night. Paul back from his injury. He looks good. Griffin looks like an absolute stud. How about Rivers? I mean, how about the young Rivers coming off the bench and doing some great things? J.J. Redick hitting all sorts of shots. You got Barnes causing havoc. The big man Jordan in the middle playing good ball. Clippers look like a solid team. I didn't know what they could do in this round because we didn't know what Paul, what his availability was going to be. Remember, Paul had that injury, sat out the first 2 games. I thought when the Clippers beat Houston in Game 1 in Houston without Paul, I thought that was a telling sign in this series. I mean, I thought the Rockets were in all sorts of trouble that they lost to the Clippers at home without Paul. Now Paul is back. They won both games in L.A. Clippers in commanding control of the series 3-1 as we go back to Houston. Where is Dwight Howard? I mean, where is Dwight Howard? What has happened to Dwight Howard's game? When he first came in the league, he was an absolute monster. Remember, he got to the finals that year when they lost to the Lakers when he was with Orlando. What has happened to his game? I mean, Dwight Howard looks to me like he doesn't work on his game at all in the offseason. He should be much better than this at this stage of his career. What happened to Harden? Second in the MVP voting. He was scoring 40, 50 points all year. Remember, every time you watch SportsCenter, he was having another 40-point night. Where has he been in this series? He's been lost. What happened to Josh Smith's game? He used to be a good player in Atlanta. Now he can't hit a free throw. Kevin McHale, the pressure is really on him. I mean, can he survive if Houston goes out in 5 games here? I don't know about that. I'll tell you, in the offseason, Houston tried to get Chris Bosh, and you can see they really need another player like him. Bosh, of course, stayed in Miami. Houston really needs another player. Bosh would have fit in really nice with this team. You can see they're another good player away, really. The Clippers are having their way with Houston. I am shocked about how one-sided this series is. And by the way, I can't take any more of the intentional fouling. I mean, the Clippers are intentionally fouling Howard. The Rockets are intentionally fouling Jordan. I mean, last night's game was painful to watch. I think the first quarter took like an hour and a half. I think the other day there was like, 150 free throws shot. I mean, they have to change the rules of the NBA. And I know, a lot of people argue, well, why are you helping out the guys that can't hit free throws? The crowd, the fans that pay good hard money to watch these games can't sit and watch this. This is painful to watch. They have to change the rules somehow. You can't sit there and watch guys intentionally fouling everyone for the whole quarter. This was going on for basically the whole quarter of every quarter in every one of these games in the series. I mean, I think the Rockets shot and the Clippers shot 250 free throws in 2 games. It was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, all you saw was Howard at the line missing, Jordan at the line missing. I mean, it was just terrible, terrible basketball to watch. Look for the NBA to change that rule, but the Clippers in total command of that series. So that's where you are in the NBA. You got some great stuff coming up in the NBA. Tonight, Memphis Golden State is a must-watch. All sorts of pressure on Golden State. I mean, tremendous amount of pressure on them. Washington up 2-1 on Atlanta. Atlanta's got to respond themselves. Like I said, Clippers in control against Houston, but Cleveland, Chicago going forward should be tremendous as well. That series is 2-2. So you got a lot of good stuff in the NBA going on right now. All right, so that's where you are in your NBA. As far as the NHL, let's start down in Washington, where the New York Rangers have really responded. They hang on and beat Washington last night 4-3. They almost blew a 4-1 lead, but they do hang on and win. They force a Game 7 Wednesday night in the Garden. Both teams get an extra day's rest. Great job by the Rangers responding in this series. Washington had a 3-1 lead in this series. Looked really good. Looked like they were in total command. Give the Rangers all sorts of credit. They found a way to win Game 5, and then they come back and they hang on to win Game 6. So nice job by the Rangers, and they really hung on last night. Rangers were up 4-1 in this game. Washington scores 2 third-period goals, and it was an onslaught after that. Lundqvist had to stand on his head to keep the Rangers, in the win column in this game. Washington was putting all sorts of pressure on the Rangers for it seemed like the whole third period. But Lundqvist stood on his head. The Rangers escaped. The Rangers even had to kill off a penalty at the end of the game, which was a terrible call, by the way. They said the puck was cleared up into the crowd. It actually hit the glass and then went out into the crowd, so that was a bad call. Rangers had to survive that bad call. They killed off that penalty, and the Rangers hang on and got a much-needed win. They stay alive, and now they force a Game 7 in the Garden on Wednesday. The Garden should be absolutely rocking. I expect another one-goal game. Could go either way. Every game in this series has been tight, low scoring, and one goal should be no different on Wednesday night. That's a must-watch. Can't wait for it. As far as the Eastern Conference Series, Tampa Bay is up 3-2 against Montreal. They play Game 6 in Tampa, I believe, tomorrow. Tampa Bay was up 3-0 in this series. Montreal has won 2 in a row. Now all the pressure on Tampa Bay. Got to wrap this up at home. Don't want to go back to Montreal for a Game 7. And I'll tell you, Montreal could easily be winning this series. A couple of bad breaks in this series. Montreal has carried the play a lot in this series. Definitely deserved to win the last 2 games. Could have won another couple of games. I'll tell you, if you're a Tampa Bay fan, you got to feel a little nervous about how this series is going. Now, you still are leading the series. You still got a home game, but you got to start feeling a little uneasy right now about where this series is headed. Wouldn't shock me at all if Montreal came back and won this series. Game 6 tomorrow in Tampa Bay. And as far as the Western Conference, we're all set for the Western Conference Finals. Chicago, of course, swept away Minnesota, which seems like ages ago. And Anaheim polished off Calgary last night. They win in overtime last night, and they win the series 4-1. Calgary was a very game team, a very gritty team, but Anaheim was too strong for them. So that sets up an Anaheim-Chicago Western Conference Final. It doesn't get any better than that. That should be lights-out hockey. And whoever you get on the eastern side should be good as well. No matter what combination you get, you should get some good hockey. So both in the NBA and the NHL, we're going to get some good stuff going forward. All right, so that's where you are in your NHL. No NHL, I don't think, tonight. Remember, the Western Conference Series are over. Rangers got the extra day off. They don't play till Wednesday, and I believe Tampa doesn't play till tomorrow, so we got an off day in the NHL tonight, so it is an NBA night all the way, especially with that Memphis Golden State game. Real quick on Major League Baseball. Let's go through it real quick. As far as the American League, as far as the East, Yankees continue to impress me. They're 20-12. They win 2 out of 3 from Baltimore. How about Pineda yesterday? 16 strikeouts. I didn't think the Yankees were going to be this good, so they are impressing me. Tampa Bay 17-15. Tampa Bay always seems to find a way to play good ball. I didn't think they'd be that good. They lose their manager. They lose him to the Cubs. I didn't think Tampa Bay would be that good at all. They're still above 500, 17-15. Tampa Bay, remember Tampa Bay back in the day? They used to be dreadful all the time. Now they seem to be a decent ball club all the time. Toronto 16-16, playing a little better. I do expect more from Toronto. I'm always let down by them. Boston, what's happening to them? They're slip sliding away. 14-17, 3-7 in the last 10. Not impressed with them at all. They got off to a hot start. not playing good ball at all. Baltimore 13-16. I didn't like Baltimore's offseason. They let Cruz go after that monster season he had last year. They let Markakis go. I didn't like Baltimore's offseason last year, and they seem to be paying for it now. Remember, they had a great year last year. As far as the Central, Kansas City and Detroit still playing good ball. Kansas City is in first place. By the way, Kansas City and Detroit played the Sunday night baseball game last night. Now, I'm not a big fan of those Sunday night baseball games, especially when they start so late on the East Coast. Like, they'll start 8 o'clock and they're over by like 12, 1 o'clock. They made Kansas City last night play the Sunday night game. They got to sit through a rain delay. The game goes to extra innings. Kansas City does win. And then Kansas City's got to take a flight and play in Texas tonight. Who came up with that schedule in Major League Baseball? Let's have Kansas City play in Detroit on Sunday Night Baseball. You know, sit through a rain delay, which you can't predict, but okay. And then the game goes into extra innings. And then let's make them take a flight all the way down to Texas to play in Texas tonight. I mean, come on. I mean, give them an off day. I mean, come on. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Playing a Sunday night game in Detroit, getting the game over with really late, and then flying down to Texas. I mean, that's not a short flight. That's not a short trip, Detroit to Texas. So I don't like Major League Baseball scheduling there at all. Anyway, Kansas City did get the win. We'll see how they play in Texas tonight. They may be sleepwalking. Kansas City and Detroit playing well. Minnesota playing well at 18-14. Paul Molitor, the manager of Minnesota. Minnesota has been playing some really nice ball. Keep an eye on them. Chicago doesn't look like a good team at all. And Cleveland, very disappointing this year. As far as the American League West, Houston 20-12. You got to be impressed with Houston. No one thought they'd be this good. The rest of the West is under 500. The Angels, Seattle, Texas, and Oakland all floundering. Oakland got dusted by Seattle over the weekend, but right now everyone in the West other than Houston under 500. So someone's got to step up there and challenge Houston. As far as the National League East, the Mets continue to impress 20-11. I'll tell you, the Mets and Houston got to be the two surprises of Major League Baseball, wouldn't you say? I mean, the Mets continue to do it. They continue to pitch well. 20-11. They take 2 out of 3 from Philly over the weekend. Washington 17-15. They are playing a lot better. You expect them to be there in the end. They had a terrible start to the season. They're starting to play good ball. How about Harper? The guy is on absolute fire. He's hitting home runs left and right. Just missed a home run yesterday. Harper on fire with the home runs. Washington playing better. Miami and Atlanta and Philly all under 500. We don't expect a lot from Atlanta and Philly. I'm not a believer in Miami, but a lot of people are. We'll see when they get their ace pitcher back, you know, sometime in the summer if they can make a move. I'm not a believer in Miami. A lot of people like them. Right now they're under 500. As far as the Central, St. Louis Cardinals 22-9. I mean, the St. Louis Cardinals, are just one of the greatest organizations in sports. I mean, they really are. You can't say enough good things about them. They continue to do it year after year after year. I mean, they just replace guys. They lose Wainwright. They don't miss a beat. St. Louis Cardinals, a classic organization, 22-9. The rest of that division, Cubs, Reds, Pitt, and Milwaukee, all 500 or worse, so no one playing great. I do expect the Cubs to get better in the future. Pittsburgh has been up and down this year. Milwaukee looks like a dreadful team, and the Reds look mediocre at best. So this looks like St. Louis's division to lose. St. Louis playing great ball right now. And as far as the National League West, the Dodgers are 20-10. How about Peterson? What a rookie center fielder this guy is. He's hitting home runs all over the place. Dodgers look like the class of this division. We will keep an eye on 2 injuries for the Dodgers. Of course, Ryu, their pitcher, he hasn't pitched much at all this year. We'll see when he gets back. And now Puig aggravated the hamstring again. We'll see how long he's out. Dodgers have a couple injury issues. Dodgers should cruise in this division, though. They should easily make the playoffs. San Diego 17-16. I expect them to be a little better than that, but I don't think they can catch the Dodgers. San Francisco 16-16. You expect them to drop a little back this year. Had a lot of off-season changes. Arizona 14-16. We don't expect much from them. And Colorado 11-17. What's the deal with them? Got off to a nice start. Now they look dreadful. I like their lineup, Colorado. I always say that. but they don't pitch enough. I mean, Colorado, it's almost like Colorado's got to make a move. Maybe trade Tulowitzki or C. Gonzalez or both of them. Get some pitchers or something. It's just not working for Colorado. And I like their lineup, but something is not clicking with them. 11-17. Terrible job by the Rockies. They got off to a decent start, but they've fallen apart. All right, so that's where you are in your Major League Baseball. By the way, how good was the golf yesterday from Florida? The Players' Championship was outstanding. Going into the last round yesterday, you had about 30 golfers that could actually win the tournament. Fowler wins in a playoff over Kisner and Garcia. I mean, it was just tremendous, tremendous golf. Fowler was outstanding down the stretch of this tournament. He was making birdie after birdie. Kisner, I felt so sorry for. He had 2 shots that were an inch away from the cup that would have gave him the title. He just missed out on winning this. Garcia did play well, but typical Garcia, I didn't think he'd actually win the tournament. To me, Garcia is very overrated as a golfer. He does play well in this tournament. He did play well, did finish third. I don't want to, knock him too much here, but Garcia never seems to win these type of tournaments. He always seems to fall short. He did play well yesterday. Don't want to kill him. But Fowler was absolutely tremendous down the stretch of this tournament. He wins in the playoff. Kisner, a heartbreaking second. The golf was great yesterday. If you're a golf fan, it doesn't get any better than that. Tremendous shots. I mean, so many players involved. I mean, and I'm not, the biggest golf lover. Like, I'll follow golf, but I know people that are fanatics about golf. I'm not a golf fanatic. I have friends that are fanatics about golf. But, I mean, if you're just a casual fan, you had to love the golf yesterday. It was tremendous. I did catch some boxing over the weekend. I watched Alvarez knock out Kirkland down in Houston where the Astros play. This was no surprise. I mean, this was a one-sided mess. Kirkland, I mean, he's an exciting fighter, but, he takes a lot of punches, and he's just not an A-list fighter. He's a B-list fighter. He'll give you an effort. He takes a good punch, but he takes way too many punches. And Alvarez had his way, and then he basically, knocked out Kirkland in, I believe, what was it, the 3rd round. It was all Alvarez. He dominated this fight, put Kirkland down a bunch of times. Kirkland, like I said, he gives you an effort, but he's not an A-list fighter. Alvarez still so young. It's amazing. Alvarez is only, 24 years old, and he's already had almost 50 fights, and he's been in some big fights already with Mayweather, his only loss, so Alvarez has a very, very bright future. Should be some big fights for Alvarez down the road. Maybe Cotto, that would be an interesting fight. Maybe Golovkin, that would be an amazing fight. We'll see if we get that. So Alvarez gets the knockout over Kirkland. Not much of a surprise there. All right, by the way, there's a few stories that I am absolutely sick of hearing about in the sports world. Number one is the Manny Pacquiao-Mayweather fight. I can't take any more of it. It's bad enough I had to sit through the fight. You have to pay $100 to watch it. Now all we're hearing about is the Pacquiao injury, and he's got, he had, the torn shoulder, and he's out for a year, and he wants a rematch, and Mayweather might give him a rematch, and he won't. He changes his mind every day. And then there's all the stories about the Nevada Commission, about how they didn't give Pacquiao the anti-inflammatory shot because his team didn't check some box. I mean, give me a break already. I can't take any more of this. The fight was boring, and now all this talk is boring. First of all, the Nevada Commission. I mean, just because, maybe Pacquiao's team messed up on some questionnaire and they didn't check a box. If the guy's got a torn shoulder or got some shoulder problems, give him the anti-inflammatory shot before the fight. It's not like you're giving him steroids or anything. So bad job by the Nevada Athletic Department with that whole thing. I mean, what a terrible job by them. Terrible job, by Pacquiao's team not disclosing this injury. I mean, come on. And a lot of people are saying, Pacquiao, what was his choices? What was he supposed to do? Is he supposed to cancel the fight? He's a warrior going out there fighting with one arm. Yeah, I give him credit for going out there fighting, with one arm. But, I mean, come on. A lot of this has to be, he didn't want to miss out on this big $100 million payday. If he cancels this fight, maybe this fight never happens. I mean, so that to me is misleading the public a little bit. You're charging $100 for this super fight, and you got a guy basically fighting with, one arm out there. So I got a problem with that. And to me, I don't think it was going to matter anyway. If Pacquiao was totally healthy, I think Mayweather wins by a boring decision anyway. Now you got Mayweather chirping, saying He might give Pacquiao a rematch, then he won't, then he doesn't respect him because Pacquiao's given him no credit for winning. Then he says he can beat Pacquiao 100 out of 100 times. Mayweather says he's going to fight one more time. Then he says he's got 2 more fights on his contract. I mean, who knows? Then they're saying after Pacquiao heals up after a year, they're going to have a rematch. They might not. I can't take any more of it. Enough. As a matter of fact, to be honest, I wish both of these guys would retire. I'm perfectly honest with you. Mayweather fight 1 or 2 more times and he could retire, and to be honest, I wouldn't miss him at all. His fights are not exciting. I can't take all his chirping. And as far as Pacquiao, listen, he was an exciting fighter. He's past his prime. He wants to get back from his injury and fight 1 or 2 more times in China or the Philippines for his home fans. That's fine. But to me, both of them could retire right now. I'm ready to move on from both of them, to be honest with you. I can't take any more of this. We waited 5 years and we got that just boring fight, and now I got to hear more boring nonsense now. And what am I going to hear about this for the next year while Pacquiao's rehabbing his shoulder? I mean, I can't take any more of this. Enough with both of them. They both can retire as far as I'm concerned. All right, so that's one story I'm sick of. The other 2 stories I'm sick of, the NFL draft. Anything to do with the NFL draft now I can't take. I mean, you got to sit through your mock drafts, and, then the actual draft, and, Mel Kiper saying this guy is great with this team, and this guy's not good with this team, and the 6th round pick fits in here. Enough. I can't take it. You're not going to know until years from now who was good and who wasn't. You're going to forget what Mel Kiper said in a couple years. I mean, so I can't take any more of the NFL draft. Already you saw the Jacksonville Jaguars 3rd pick overall in the draft. He goes down with a knee injury. He's out for the year already. So the Jacksonville Jaguars pick 3rd, and they lose their third pick in the draft for the year already, in off-season workouts. I mean, I'll tell you, if you're Jacksonville, if you don't have bad luck, you have no luck at all. So Jacksonville's got no luck at all. But I can't take any more of the NFL draft and any more of analyzing these picks and the grades for the draft. I mean, you're not going to know for a couple of years from now. And one more thing on the draft. How about Jerry Jones and the Cowboys? Are they just not taking every single player that's had a checkered background? I mean, they are rolling the dice on everybody. They're not just taking one guy with a checkered background. They take all of them. Now, a lot of these guys, they all have talent. A lot of the stories are different. Some of the stories, worse than others. But Jerry Jones is just taking all these guys. And if he could get Adrian Peterson from Minnesota, he'd get him too. Another guy with a checkered, off the field issues. So Jerry Jones is just looking to win now. Jerry Jones, who won big early in his, in his ownership, he hasn't won in a while. He is dying to win. He's looking to win at all costs. He's taking everyone he can get his hands on, no matter what their backgrounds are. And another story I'm sick of is the whole Tom Brady with the, deflated footballs. I can't take any more of this. First of all, they beat the Colts like 100-3. I said this at the time. They could have used golf balls. The Patriots were going to win that game. Yes, I understand if he broke the rules and all that. So find the Patriots, give him Brady a couple games suspension, take a draft pick away from New England, but let's get rid of this story already. I mean, enough. And to me, there's no asterisk next to the New England Patriots Super Bowl. When I think of the New England Patriots winning the Super Bowl, I'm not going to think of some deflated ball. I'm going to think of Seattle messing up at the goal line and New England making that great play at the goal line. That's what I'm going to think of. Sports is about moments. You can't change that now. It's just like in college football. Like when a college football team wins a national title and then like 10 years later, they get them on some sort of recruiting violation and they strip the team of the title. It's semantics. We saw the team win. I mean, you can't take away a title after they win it. So to me, this is all nonsense. And the way they worded all this, more than probable that Brady knew about this. I mean, what kind of wording is this? To me, and here's another thing. People said Brady's going to get suspended for the year. That's not going to happen. Maybe he gets a few games. He's not going to get suspended for the whole year. I'm sure the Pats will be hit with a fine. Brady will get a few game suspension. Maybe they take a late draft pick away from New England. He's not getting suspended for the year. At least I don't think so. To me, this issue is, and I know it's a rule, and most likely he broke the rules. Although I don't know how you prove any of this stuff. And the wording that the NFL came out with was really strange, more than probable. I mean, I don't get the whole thing. To me, I wish this story would go away. And to me, there's no asterisks next to this. I mean, how many asterisks are we going to put next to sports now? Pete Rose has an asterisk next to his all-time hit mark. Barry Bonds with the home runs. I mean, Lance Armstrong here. I mean, all the guys with baseball with the steroids. I mean, it just goes on and on. How many asterisks can we have? I even heard, how about last year's story when they were talking about Jerry Rice using special gloves or special, stick-em gloves to catch the ball? Chris Carter came out and said Jerry Rice is a cheater. He doesn't respect what he did now. I mean, come on, now we're going to get on Jerry Rice now? How about we just eliminate everyone? Let's put an asterisk next to everything. Pete Rose, Barry Bonds, Jerry Rice, Tom Brady, put an asterisk next to everyone. Sports is about the moment. I mean, in here, you're not changing the moment of what we saw in the Super Bowl. We know New England won. They won in miraculous fashion. To me, when I think of the Super Bowl, that's what I'm going to think of. I'm not going to think of some deflated ball in the Colt game, which they won 100-3. That's just me. You want to think of it differently. You want to see everything New England did was tainted. That's fine. To me, I think that's a lot of jealousy. I think a lot of people are jealous of Brady. They're jealous of New England. I mean, I see a lot of that here in New York. I mean, the Jets are always in the shadow of New England. So, the Jets feel like they got to attack New England at all costs. There's a lot of jealousy towards the Patriots, a lot of jealousy towards Brady. To me, I don't feel that way, and I'm not a Patriot fan. I respect what the Patriots do. I respect Belichick. I respect Brady. I mean, yeah, it might have been some rules broken here. All right, give them the suspension. Do what you have to do. But let's stop talking about it already. I can't take any more of it. So I can't take some of these stories. A Manny Pacquiao Mayweather thing, that needs to go. The Brady thing needs to go. And everything about the NFL draft needs to go. So I'm just annoyed by those three stories. All right, so that's my little rant on that. All right, there you go. You guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. Like I said, it's a big NBA night. The NHL has the night off tonight, so you got two big NBA games. Washington, Atlanta. Atlanta trying to even up that series. Wall out for Washington, and then Memphis, Golden State. The pressure is on Golden State all the way. They have to respond here on the road. Can't afford to fall behind 3-1. They fall behind 3-1. They are in huge trouble. We'll see what Golden State is made of tonight. Must watch Golden State and Memphis tonight, Game 4. There you go. You guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. Thanks for the support as always. You guys stay happy, healthy, and safe. Enjoy the games tonight. I will be back with you guys very, very soon. Take care.